Okay, we're live, I think.
Hi.
I'm just going to type to everyone. We'll give everyone a couple of seconds. Maybe it'll be just us, Angela. Who knows? That's fine too.
Yeah, that's all right. Oh no, Jen's here. Hey, Jen.
Oh, hey, Jen. Jen, is it like really late where you are? Or tomorrow?
Yeah,
I can never remember the time zones. Jen, I'm going to make you a, let's see.
Hey, Lady Knight.
Hi, Maria. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. So happy people
I know,
are here.
right? Maria, Jen,
Okay.
this is fantastic.
I'm trying to figure out how to make you a moderator. Modifier. It's a teacher thing to say. A moderator, and I can't figure it out. Rochelle taught me last time, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty obvious, and I can't figure it out. Anyway, hi guys, I am here with Angela from Tiny Trinkets and Tarot, and I am so excited because it's kind of my first live by myself, except for the one I did with Rochelle. And is it your second live, Angela?
Well, technically, this is my first official live. Yeah, I've never.
Your first official, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, My Voice Tarot is here. Hello.
Hi, My Voice.
Maria, how do you make someone a moderator? Oh, Allison's here from Tech Coven. I'm excited to see you. Okay, Angela. So we have been talking about doing this it's been like a couple of weeks now at least, and we've been counting down. So I'm really happy that it's finally here and we finally get to talk. So I have known you for a while, since 2020. Okay, so since last year. And I know you got one of the decks that I gave away a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were on my advent calendar, and we've just kind of talked since then. So I'm really happy that I got to meet people. Hey, Julie from Peekaboo Rose. I'm so happy you guys are here. So Allison, I've been really excited to talk to you because I am fascinated by your trinkets. And I'm hoping you're going to tell us. Now, I know you have a video where you kind of talked about them, but yay. Yay.
Yeah.
My son's jar, it is a headless frog. So
cool.
Later.
That's awesome.
So I know you are extremely busy. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to lately, non-tarot wise.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Amy. This is great. I just adore you and your channel. I've watched you for quite some time. I've watched you long before I started commenting. So yeah, we officially met, like you said, through the giveaway and then through the advent calendar, which was a lot of fun. I hope you do that again at the end of this year. That was a lot of fun. What am I doing outside of the tarot world? School is my main priority right now. I'm in my second year of my bachelor's degree in nursing, so that does consume the majority of my life. And I have a husband and two sons, aged 13 and 14, and so that keeps me busy as well. That's my life right there. Besides coming on and exploring tarot and communicating with the tarot community, which I love, by the way. Everyone here has been so supportive, and I just really wanted to be more a part of it. I've been around for a bit as Hermit and High Priestess in the comments section, but then I thought it was time to put my own platform out there and share my own voice. So here I am.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I know you told me before you started this channel that you were going to, and I was really excited for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you took the leap. I really am. And I cannot imagine having two teenagers and being in nursing school and starting a YouTube channel. So I admire you're juggling it all.
Oh, thank
I
you.
feel like
Yeah.
I'm like crawling through each week. But yeah, so Angela and I were talking about nursing school at the time of COVID. It's kind of interesting. Everything's interesting at the time of COVID.
Yes. Oh my goodness. It is. It's quite the challenge. But if there's one thing I've learned, you just roll with it. Like, as long as we're all doing our part in, trying to be as safe as we can, um, and reaching out to people, I think is important right now, more so than usual, right? Because this lack of human connection and human contact is so damaging on so many levels. It's so easy to get hung up in our everyday lives of doing whatever we're doing. And but now that we can't physically go and visit, just drop in and see people, uh it's really, yeah, it's really damaging on a psychological level. And again, like sort of how you and I were talking about the students, um and how that can be damaging if they don't have in-person class too. It's just it's a lot, but I think if we just all stick to it, we'll get through this together. So
Yeah, I feel like at least with our, TarotTube community, there's some interaction and contact, even if it's not in person.
yes.
So I'm grateful for that. I think it's kind of kept me a little bit sane. So tell me about your YouTube channel and what you are where you're hoping to go with it. Because I know you have several videos already, and I watched you do a reading with your charms, and I was really excited about that. I looked through YouTube and I found there's like a whole like section of people who read with charms that
Yes.
I existed.
Yes, absolutely. So I've always read in a layered way, meaning a combination of tarot and oracle and charms. Having said that, I've really only read for myself. So putting myself out here like this, I'm definitely not starting a channel to say that I know everything about tarot, because it's just the opposite. I want to learn more. And I think making my own platform and just being authentic and real and just saying, hey, I love tarot. I haven't read for people, but I'm interested in learning more about it and just exploring all it. Like, tarot is a huge topic. It's not just like, oh, reading for people. It's used for self-development, which is what I've used it for. And you can just take it into so many different avenues and areas. And that is really where I was interested in starting my own channel, to see like, let's just have these conversations about like, what does tarot mean to you and how do you use it? And responding to VRs, which is really cool way to connect with people in the community who are also using tarot in various ways. So yeah,
That is what I love. I love that about tarot. And it's the same with teaching. You ask 20 people and you're going to get 20 different ways to approach it. And I find that really fascinating.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so that's
where did your tarot journey start? Because we all want to know these questions. Okay, people want to know like what's your rising sign and what's your moon sign and sun sign. But so where did you start with tarot? How long have you been reading?
I began. Okay, so hopefully no judgment, okay, guys, because my very first tarot deck was actually Doreen Virtue.
Okay, that's okay.
And Radley Valentine. So that is actually what introduced me to tarot. I actually attended this conference back in, I want to say, let's see, probably like 10 years ago now or 11 years ago now. And prior to that, I had already been reading like with oracle cards and charms, but not with tarot. So my actual tarot deck came from this conference that I attended with Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. And I even have their signatures on the inside of the box.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I know that there's a lot of controversy around the topic, but when something has been like so monumental and a part of your life, I just see it as tools. I don't connect it to the person themselves, So,
yes.
I definitely don't agree with how she exited our community, but I'm also not going to judge her for it either. So I just separate the creator from the deck when things like that happen. So I have a very large Doreen Virtue collection, actually, and I do
What's your
like
favorite?
using decks. Um,
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
no, that's cool. This is great.
Collection of Doreen Virtue, but what's your favorite? Because now I have a large collection of Doreen Virtue, and I'm always interested to see.
Let's see. I do have a couple next to me. Actually, I would say the Healing with the Angels deck is probably one of my favorite, probably because it's just one of my oldest decks that I had, and one that really opened me to this world of divining, like with cards. You know, I mean, they have those like old school borders on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just there's something comforting about this deck to me.
I think a lot of people say that deck. I think the Doreen Virtue one, like a classic, right?
It is. It really is. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how the tarot came to be. And having said that, I mean, that was my first tarot deck, and then that sort of led me down the garden path of like, oh well, this isn't like a real tarot deck. I mean, it is, but I wanted to know like the original creations of the deck, and then that led me to like, what is the history of tarot, and like what does that look like, what is like one of the original Rider-Waite-Smith decks. Oh, that's what that looks like. So it just opened up this whole new world for me, just simply by attending that conference and picking up that deck. So
that is the tarot rabbit hole.
Yes.
There's always one more thing to learn, or some other kind of deck, you know, lures.
Yes.
Julie says, "Oh, you Hermit and High Priestess." Yes, that's Hermit and High Priestess, one and the same.
Yes, yeah, that was my YouTube, like just my YouTube. I didn't have a channel. I just created an account, and that's what my name was at that time. So
yes, so to comment on, that's where people saw you in the comments. My voice says, "School kids, OMG, how do you do it?" And Allison's struggling even just to do laundry. You know what? Laundry, yes, Allison, okay?
Absolutely.
Overrated.
I'm bad with this chat and trying to video, guys. I'm sorry, this is my first live, but I'm really enjoying that so many of you are here, and thank you all for your support. There's several of you here. Actually, I think all of you here have had a monumental part of this journey for me in terms of not only inspiring me to make the channel, but also supporting me after I finally pushed the record button. So I really do appreciate that. I love being part of this community, and I love that we all have such a unique voice, yet we all are coming together for the commonality of love of divination. I just think it's fascinating that we can take this into so many different areas and learn and grow with each other. So there's like, and it's endless, the amount there is to learn. And what I love about this community is that I didn't know how much there was out there. I mean, it just, you know, and I've been reading tarot for a really long time, and I was, you know, stuck in my tarot ways, but I love seeing what's out there. No shame in the prior Doreen game, says Julie. Yes, no judgment. Thank you. Yeah. I just know I can open up a big conversation around that topic, which is okay. That's fine. It was surprising for a lot of us.
So I have a list of questions, you know, because we were both talking about how nervous we were, but I now that you guys are here in the chat with us. So, well, we'll skip over some of your favorite TarotTube channels because we kind of touched on that. But you told me your tarot story, and how do you read tarot? Because I'm kind of more of a person who uses it for introspection and a lot of learning about myself, dealing with feelings, dealing with life. How do you come to the tarot?
So that is how I began to use it, is so for like self-exploration and sort of trying to figure out inner issues and whatnot. So that is how I still today use it. I will turn to it for some questions that are pertaining to my life that are not so deep and whatnot, as more of like an oracle, I guess you could call it. But I am very much still learning tarot and all of that it has to offer, because like you, I didn't realize that it could offer so much more. So I'm reading books and I'm watching other people's channels, and I know I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but I get so excited about the various layers that it can bring, and the fact that it doesn't matter what level that you're in terms of your understanding of tarot. It's your relationship to it. So I'm very much an intuitive reader. So yes, I mean, knowing the meanings of the cards are important, but I also get like really good intuitive hits just off of like the imagery or a feeling that I'm feeling. So I will also incorporate that into my readings as well. But again, I haven't read really for other people. I've just read for myself, but I have picked up a deck for a friend or two that I've reached out and said, you have all those cards laying around. Like, can you do me a favor? And I'm like, okay.
I almost know when they ask me that it's really weighing heavily on them, because some of my friends who aren't so into it will sometimes ask, and I'm like, you must really be struggling with this, because
Yes.
I'm probably the last resort.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say that I really know anyone in real life, like hang out with anyone that understands cards or really any, I shouldn't say any form of divination, but the divination tools I use, they don't really understand it, and maybe not really interested in it. And that's okay. So that's another reason I turn to this community, because you guys get me.
Aw. Hi, Mary Beth. Welcome. So I really want to, first of all, I like what you said about layers, because I went to my first tarot conference last weekend. I went to StarCon, and it was all online. And this is Anna Gaudette puts on every year. And Marion Kay from Marion Kay Tarot, if you've ever seen her channel,
Yeah.
she did a class called Making Your Tarot Soundtrack, where you connect the cards to music.
Wow.
And I think she's going to do a tag or something about it, because it was really interesting. If you've ever had a song pop into your head when you look at a card or have connected music. And so that kind of took me on one side, and then I went to a class by Benabel Wen called Shamanistic Tarot, and that like blew my mind. And I love that tarot can do that. It continues to blow my mind.
Yes, the rabbit hole continues. I love it.
One thing that was one of those moments where I was like, oh my God, I never thought of this, is when I saw your trinkets. I want you to please, I know you've made a video, but I want you to talk about your trinkets and how you got into it and how you collected them, because I know some you've had for a long time and some you got just for your trinket jar.
Yeah. So trinkets, charms, like miniatures, all that little stuff has always excited me. Like ever since I was a little kid, I pretty much grew up in craft stores. My mom is like one of the most amazing seamstresses you'll ever meet. And not just seamstress, but she's like crafty in all the ways. Not me. I did not inherit those genes, although I've tried. So, she worked and managed in many craft stores. And so as a little kid, I would just like go to work with her, and you could always find me in the aisle with the miniature dollhouse things.
Yeah.
I'd always just be looking at them and like, oh my gosh. And then at home, if I would ever get any Barbie stuff, I would be more excited for the Barbie accessories and not so much for the Barbie itself. So
Barbie had the little hangers.
Yes.
Organized like the little, I had a case and it has like you can hang the hangers on it. Yeah, it was way more fun than the Barbie.
Exactly. So I've always been intrigued with all that little stuff. And I've just sort of collected it over my lifetime in various places, whether it be a bubblegum machine or, like I said, the Barbie accessories or various places, and just things that I found on my travels, secondhand stores. Of course, you can go on Amazon nowadays and you can get stuff, but and of course I do have things in my jar from Amazon and various stores, but I sometimes find the most intriguing charms are the ones that have a story behind them. Whether I was gifted them or found them, or it has like a connection to it. Um, Actually, I'm just going to grab something real quick. I have something here that connects to the story. One second. One second.
Okay. I'm going to check the chat, you guys. I'm kind of behind. Ooh, Victorian style imagery, Guardian Tarot.
Ooh.
Is that a Doreen Virtue?
Okay. So going back to what I was saying. So I was probably about 4 years old, and I was in a secondhand store with my mom. And for all of you who don't know, I'm originally from the States, so I'm from Wisconsin. I currently now reside in Canada. But anyhow, so I remember going up to this glass display case and looking in and seeing these two little weird-looking creatures. And they're actually like pins that you can like wear. I mean, who would ever? But anyway, and I remember saying to my mom, like, oh, I really want those. And my mom's like, why do you want those? I'm like, they're just so cool. They're just so like unique. And so this like weird little trinkety stuff has always like been in my life, and obviously still is around me. So I've just always been drawn to it. So anyway, I unknowingly have been using these little things in my life as a form of divination without even realizing I was doing that. So as a child, I would sort of like cast things. I didn't know it was called casting at the time, and sort of read with them and like make stories about what I was casting, and setting up my dolls and having them part of the story. So, it's really interesting, like when you talk about like the umbrella term divination and all that has to offer as well, like not just tarot, right? So yeah, that's sort of how trinkets have always been a part of my life. And if any of you have seen in my videos, I have quite a collection. This is just some of the ones that I have, and these are the ones that I use on my channel to just pull to add layers of meaning to my readings. And yeah, last night was the first time that I did like a live reading, or not live, excuse me, but a collective reading. And it was interesting that I pulled the oracle card listen, and then the listen charm came up and landed right on it. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. So it's cool.
I find it so fascinating what you said about being attracted to like miniatures, because I think a lot of people are like that. Like, if I'm not going to throw away a button. I mean, just like any little thing. And ever since I was a kid, I've had just random things that I couldn't even tell you where I got them. Maybe my grandpa gave it to me, but they wind up in a little jewelry box or something. And it's just things that I've always had. And they're just, I can't imagine not having them. It's almost like, if they weren't in the little box, they would look foreign to me. It's just things that I've always had. And I think a lot of kids do that. And so I pulled out my son's trinket jar, and I'm seeing now that a bug in glass probably is not qualifying as a trinket, but
that's cool.
Or a squishy brain. But he has all these.
Yes.
And I think little kids just hang on to those bits and pieces. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so interesting, especially, when you've had them for so long, they're just so familiar to you. And I love the idea of using them in your readings. So what do you, now I've seen you do this on your video, but you have a little tray, right?
Yeah, sometimes I do utilize the tray. The tray, especially if I'm casting like a lot of the charms, it sort of gives it a container so they're not flying all over the place. So I purchased these nesting trays a while ago. I think I got them off Amazon. Amazon seems to be the place to go for things these days. But and it sort of like contains the charms. Like when you're casting a lot of them, you sort of want them to land in a place as well. I also have printed off different casting sheets. You can make your own, or you can just Google them. There's lots available, and you can sort of set your intention on like what your question is and what answer you're looking for. And when you cast on a sheet, it'll give you more of a structure, right? So you can cast like north, south,
Okay.
east, and west, or you can cast yes, no. I mean, you can keep it simple, or you can get maybe a little bit more into it and cast like the zodiac signs and where does it fall there. Not that I'm an astrology expert, because I'm not, but so there's different casting sheets that you can use, and again, like using the charms, you can use them on their own. You can use them in combination with readings. They're just a different form of divination that I really enjoy using.
It's kind of like a teacup, like when I have a teacup here and it has all of the symbols on there, so you just see where the tea lands. And I think I like the idea of charms because you don't have to try to see, you don't have to search for what the clump of tea looks like.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like there for you. And but that makes sense now when you say the casting sheets. I know exactly what you're talking about, because it's like, why didn't I think of this before? I don't know. It seems like, yeah, that makes total sense. So what is your favorite? Is that Doreen Virtue deck your favorite tarot deck? I need to know all your deets.
Nope. No, it's not.
What is your favorite?
Am I still live? Okay. Sorry, my
Okay,
phone.
there you go.
I apologize. So my favorite deck, it changes. It changes so often, doesn't it? I really enjoy the Light Seers. Yes. I know, yawn. Everyone is pretty much saying that now, but it is such a really simple deck.
And no, not yawn, not yawn. I love that deck. It's right here, actually. Here it is.
Yay! And right, another one that I'm really enjoying is the Stretch Tarot.
Okay.
Yeah. So the backs look like that, and the imagery is just, yeah, it's different. I
love the colors.
It's different. It's really different. So I'm enjoying that. I don't know. Like when it comes to favorite anything, I'm really not a favorites kind of gal. Like what's your favorite color? What's your favorite? I don't know. It just changes so often. I think that kind of goes with my personality and my layered readings. And I love a variety of things. And so it does. It changes depending on my mood and depending on what's going on in my world. So.
Okay. Well, what is your sign?
I am a Virgo sun. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm like, okay. I mean, I know Virgos are very like, are they practical? You guys in the chat, what's a Virgo? I just the basics of astrology, and I feel like naughty tarot reader. I'm supposed to be an astrology expert.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's see what the people in the chat say. Someone's changing their name, apparently. We have like name changes going on in the chat.
Oh.
My voice says the chat keeps moving, you guys. I have a lot of trinkets. I never thought of using them this way. I know. Same.
Yeah. Wow.
And
I just want to mention too, so, like casting of the bones and whatnot, I mean, that is like obviously a practice that goes back quite a ways.
Yes.
So I just wanted to point out, like, there's different ways of casting things. There can be very specific ways, like, okay, here are these charms and they mean this. And if they land here, they mean this, sort of like if you're reading like with Lenormand in that there's specific meanings to specific things. I don't follow those rules because I've sort of created this way for me personally. Like, again, it's just always been something I've done. So I've never really looked at it as like a system.
Right.
And although I do have meanings to my charms that are personal to me, I find that those meanings change depending on the reading that I'm doing. So like last night when I did that collective reading, I just had to like sit for a minute and think, okay, like you just have to like put all the pieces together of like what feelings, what intuitive hits that I'm getting, and that can change the meaning of those charms. I mean, there can be the obvious ones, you know, like, oh, okay, so here comes the owl charm. So does that mean like wisdom? Or, but again, it's not, for me, it's not set in stone of like, that's always what it means when it shows up. But it could add to that. I hope that makes sense.
Well,
But
tarot's the same way, right? I might see something completely different in the card, or you know, the moon might be drawing my eye, or the owl might be drawing my eye. It just
yeah,
it totally depends. So you
yeah.
had your system and just the way you did it before you saw anyone else do it. I think that's probably a good thing.
Well, yes. And so I was using it long before I knew that other people even were. And then I discovered a couple, like you were mentioning, a couple of YouTube channels that use charms. And I was so excited, over the moon, like, oh my gosh, there's other people out here that are as weird as me. This is fantastic. And I found Liz of Charmed Intuition Tarot, and she's amazing. She has this amazing charm collection. And so, you know, throughout the years, I have gotten inspiration and ideas from her, but ultimately I was like, wow, I've been doing this all these years and I didn't even realize there was other people out here that had the same interest. So
I think when you had mentioned her before in a video, and so I went to look her up and sort of got distracted by like all of these other charm videos.
yes.
It was one of those things, and I was like, oh man, I never knew this existed. How did I not know this?
Yes.
According to the chat, you're very organized, Angela, and color coordinated is what being a tarot means. So you have to be organized to be in school and have teenagers, and
Yes.
you know, come on.
Yes to all of that. Absolutely. I am very organized, or I try to be, and color coordination is my jam. Absolutely. If you look in my planner, like
things like
yeah,
you file.
ticking off things on a list at all
Absolutely.
of that. Yes.
Green highlighter, blue highlighter, yeah.
Yep. Every course has its own color, and yep. Oh yeah.
You're a Leo rising. See, I'm an Aries rising. I'm a Scorpio Aries rising, and I completely forgot my moon sign, so don't know.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello. Well, next question, because yeah, I'm fascinated by charms. Overhand shuffle, riffle shuffle. Which one?
That definitely depends on the deck.
Okay.
Some cardstock is more forgiving than others. And I don't have the biggest of hands, so you know, it depends. I prefer to riffle shuffle if I can, for sure. It just, to me, it mixes the cards up better. It goes with the flow of what I'm trying to do, but I will do overhand as well. Yeah, I don't know. And it, I hate to not have like a straight answer for you, but it just depends, I think.
I know it. I think that a lot of times, like, it really depends. That's my answer for everything. Depends.
Yeah.
Emily, I'm so glad you're here.
Aww.
She has 2 channels too. She has a lifestyle channel and a tarot channel, and I love both of them.
Aww.
So what is well, first of all, what is your favorite card? Do you have a favorite card or least favorite card, a card that you dread seeing?
So the Hermit card is my like zodiac. That's like my zodiac card. So I am very connected to the Hermit card. And I love the High Priestess. So that's sort of why I came up with the Hermit and High Priestess name originally. The High Priestess is just so like mysterious, and like I like want to know more. Like, what's going on with that book, and like, what more do you know, lady? Like, let us know. Let us into that brain of yours. Yeah, so I love both of those cards. You know, if I'm shopping for a deck, I'll certainly check out those 2 cards to see like how they are. Not that it's a make or break deal for that deck, but I certainly do look for those. Yeah,
I'm in a hermit year this year. And so 9s keep coming up for me constantly. 9 of Pentacles is coming up constantly. Yeah. So Hermit and Strength, and I have the Hierophant year this year. And then last year was Temperance. So I don't know what my birth card is 6, the Lovers. I think.
I'm in a lover's year this year. This is my 2021 year is the lovers. So
Oh, wow,
so
that's a nice theme to have for the year.
but isn't that funny how you're in a hermit year and I'm the hermit card? And then I'm in a
Yes.
lover's year and
And
you're the
then
lovers.
vice versa. That's really, yeah, that's a nice balance. I feel like that's balanced.
Yeah.
I would love for you to go through your trinket jar and just show us some examples of things
Yeah.
you
Sure.
use.
We can do that.
Is there anything you will not use as a trinket?
No, I pretty much just, so this jar that I just like held up before, it does not contain any duplicates or or anything like that. So they're all unique. And if I have other things that I feel like, well, maybe I don't want it in the main jar where I read from, I just like sort of collect it in other. So I have like 3 jars, like 2 smaller ones and this bigger one. And I think my kids and my husband think I'm nuts. They're like, what with all this little crap that you collect? I'm like, it makes me happy. Stop it.
How does it wind up in the main jar? Like, what's your
So it ends up here in this main jar when I sort of like sit with it and I put like intention and like meaning to it. And then I'm like, okay, I can see how this could end up in a reading or like have like specific meaning to it. So then it ends up in here. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just randomly pull out some stuff. And so this is like the little Russian doll. It was actually,
yeah.
It was actually, oh, so this is something else I want to talk about on here. So as I'm showing it, it's probably a good time to do it. So to find like trinkets and charms, like, don't get hung up on like if you're shopping for them or whatever, like to just type in like, oh, I want to buy charms. I mean, yeah, yes, but be creative. So like this little doll here, like she was like a keychain and I just like took it apart. So now she's a little trinket. Okay. Also, I've found different things like this little pencil here. And it's an actual like pencil. Like I don't take the tip off because then it's going to like, get lead all over my stuff, but little pencil. So there's like bits and bobs that you can just find around your house that can act as a charm. And I really do encourage people. And I was planning on like doing a video about this to encourage people to create your own sort of trinket charm collection. And it doesn't really have to involve a lot of money. You can just find things around your house, for example, and I don't know where it is in this big jar right now, but like a little bread clip tag, that has like the expiry date on it. I've thrown that in there. And then maybe that date or those numbers are significant to the meaning, or maybe it means holding something together. That. Right. I have like a piece of thread that I found, and that's like the worry thread. So when it comes up, like maybe you're worrying about something.
So the meaning that it has for you is really the most important thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, like just to put some meaning into it, right? So let's see what else.
Emily says the Russian doll reminds me of childhood.
Yeah. Aw. See? And this is another thing. It each one of these items that I share on my channel, it will have different meanings to everyone. And that is another rabbit hole. Is like, this is great. So I'm doing this reading. I'm giving you my intuitive hits and my perception, but also there's going to be other people that have so this is like a little mermaid. That's just like a little charm from, I don't even know where she came from. But another thing to look out for too is in craft stores, little buttons. Like for example, like this little musical note, it's like a little button, right? So
yeah,
shaped differently. Also in like children's toy sections, sometimes you'll find like this little bunny, like he's like a little like rubber bunny. Oh gosh, there's just a bunch. This little guy, he's been with me since childhood. I don't even know where he came from.
A gator.
He's a little gator. So yeah, there's a lot, and then I also added in like story dice. You can get like Rory story dice online.
Nice. Yes.
So sorry, I'm not very good at holding all this stuff up here for you guys, but so dice, and then of course just like regular dice as well. Little Lego pieces as well.
I got plenty of those. I got all kinds of.
And there's lots of like accessories in Lego sets. Like my sons used to collect Lego a lot, and so I was like, "Are you done using those?" And they're like, "Mom."
No, I need that.
Right? I need that. Like this little light bulb. I mean, yeah,
Cute.
it's
I
just
like that.
there's so
I do
many
have a
different.
little Lego tarot reader my son got me for, I think, my birthday or something. She has a little Lego tarot card. I love
Oh, that's so cool.
Angela, why don't you hold up a charm and everyone type in the chat what it means to you? Because I kind of want to see the gamut of
Okay.
the range of meaning we could get from that.
Okay, I'll randomly pull one. All right. Okay. Oh, all right. That's interesting. So it's like this little lantern.
Oh, I'm having a hermit year,
I was
so
gonna say, like, is this real? Because my hermit card, your hermit year. What does this remind us of? Hello.
the lantern.
Oh, that is so cool. I mean, you can't see.
Everyone's saying hermit.
Like, you can't even make this stuff up. This is what I just love. And when those connections come together, I just get so giddy and nerdy. I love it.
Illumination, yes. I need some of that. This is what was in my son's drawer, the chattering teeth.
Oh, I love those.
Probably like, go to the dentist or whatever.
Yeah. And like this little guy here, this is a kind of a funny story behind this guy. He came out of like one of those little bags that like secondhand stores put together and they, I don't know, sell it for 50 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was in there with, I think there's a female version in here somewhere too. So I think I paid 25 cents and there was some other random crap in the bag, but it wasn't like trinket stuff. It was like notepads and like, I don't know. And I was like, ooh, so like I got it. And then I was checking out and I said to the lady, I actually just want those 2 items in the bag. I'll give you the money for it and then you can just keep. And she's like, okay. So again, you just find things in those random places and people probably think you're off the wall, but that's okay.
Goodwill sometimes has those little grab bag of toys that are just odds and ends.
Yeah.
And, they're so much fun to buy and just kind of go through and see what you have and what you don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is a little pin. Here's something out of my trinket jar. This is a little pin. It says loved. And these are from Hellsberg Diamonds in the mall. They have this big jar of these pins in every language.
Oh,
and
cool.
so we get a different language every time we go to the mall.
Oh, that's fun. See, I love this. This is so cool. And then another thing too, like if I'm pulling things out of my jar and like 2 are connected, attached, like for example, this little, I don't know, what is it, a squirrel, I think? Yes, he's a beaver, I guess. And he was attached to like this elastic. That could add another layer of meaning. It's like,
okay.
So like what is it about the beaver and this elastic now that I can add to this meaning? And it's just, I think the possibilities are endless. And then I also put in one of those like really tiny miniature deck of cards as well.
Ooh, yes.
So, like in the dollhouse section of Michael's or Hobby Lobby, you can find that.
Okay, I've got to write this down. Like dollhouse section.
Yes.
I should have made a list. Dollhouse section, Goodwill.
Yeah, like do you guys have like a craft store where you are? Like here we have Michael's.
Yes.
And then Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby, oh, it's dangerous. Be careful there. Ooh,
Oh my
there's
God.
there's lots of charms
Yeah.
there. But this little hedgehog, he's pretty cute. So there's like animal spirits in here. And
Jen says the hanged beaver.
yeah, see? I mean, there's just
which is so like much. A good tarot card as well, the hanged beaver.
This little shovel. Yeah, so the possibilities are endless. It's mind-blowing when I go down this rabbit hole because I'm always adding random things to here, and then when they eventually come out in a reading, I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. Yeah,
I love that. I might have to start gathering some charms with Jen. I mean, there's a lot. There's like little R2D2s here, and I don't know how far I'm going to get going through my. Oh, here's a little alien, a little ET. T. That reminds me of Rochelle because, she's so into aliens. Whenever I see anything about aliens, I always think of Rochelle.
So Emily asks, do you always cast charms when you read tarot? I prefer to, but if I'm just needing like a quick answer for myself and I just sort of like don't have time to sit down and because it's time consuming too, right? To like go get the jar and and everything. So if I tend to always have a deck of cards on me just so that I can tap into that or turn to that when I need to. So the answer to that is probably no, I don't always, but I definitely prefer to. And again, like I've only ever read for myself up until last night. So I do plan on and always using my trinkets, which is why I put that title in my channel, because I think it just adds such a really different layer and diversity to the reading.
Yes. And I love also how all the trinkets look in a jar. I just to look
or
at
like when
it.
they're being shuffled, like there's something like, what is that? There's one that just flew across the room. I wonder what that one was.
That must be the lantern. That must be
I don't even know where it went. Oh, that's funny.
Emily, yes, you should give it a go. Are you talking about charms? Okay, my son has this obsession with collecting tools and things that he collects that he finds on the road.
Cool.
So there's is this a nut or a bolt?
A
nut?
Yeah.
A bolt, a nut.
Is it a nut? A nut, I guess.
Nut.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, I'm going to dig out all of the charms. I have lots of just little things that from my grandpa and, that's since I was a kid. And I, of course, don't get rid of any of that.
Yeah, and antique stores are another good place to watch for. I don't know if everybody remember. Well, I'm not old enough to remember like way back, but when Cracker Jack was giving away like little things, the Cracker Jack prizes, they still gave away
boxes. Yeah,
cereal box. I mean, I remember that, and I remember when the Cracker Jack was like the plastic stuff. But I guess even further back, it was like metal figurines they would give away. Just yeah, again, like the possibilities are endless. There's so many different things. There was, how like earbuds have those like little rubber things on them in different sizes. We had like a pack of those laying around and I threw one of those in here. So when that comes up, I'm reminded to listen. Like you could really give it any meaning that you wanted to. And again, it could change depending on the reading that you're doing and the cards that come up.
My voice says I have a million animal trinkets. That is what I'm into. I never thought about using them in readings.
Yes.
Animals, I think, would work really well. Lots of people use animal oracles and
yes.
Not.
Yes.
E.T. Oh my gosh. I remember seeing E.T. in the theater. That's how old I am.
I saw E.T. in the theater. So you're not that old.
Good. It makes me feel better. Okay, Sarah has so many amazing ones. What is that? Trinkets?
Oh.
I
like we should start a tag. Show me your trinkets. Like I want to see these.
You should start a tag. That can be your first tag. Show me your trinkets.
Okay, I'm going to.
Do it. Yes, I'm for sure going to do it.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Here's a good one. A little dreidel.
Oh, yes.
Cute.
Dreidel. Got me singing that song now. How you first started using them and what your first experience was with them. So Emily, I first started using them in a way that I didn't realize I was using them for divination. When I was a child, I would just sort of play with them and create stories with them. But when I intentionally started using them in my like actual readings, like with tarot and oracle, I would say, maybe like more than 10 years ago now. And sorry, what was the question? And what was your my first experience was absolute synchronicity. Like I would be doing a reading and let's say, for lack of better, like I can't think of one on top of my head, but let's say like the lantern that you just saw would land on like the hermit card. And I was like, whoa. there's something here. This is pretty powerful stuff. And I thought, oh, that's just like, coincidence or whatnot. And so I would just continue with it. And like these synchronicities kept popping up. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I think like I just fell in love with it because I thought, wow, this is really giving me like momentum and places that I can focus on in the reading. That is like, you need to pay attention to this. Like, we're not only giving it to you once, we're showing it to you twice and in different ways. And I'm like, okay, all right. So sometimes spirit has to like knock me on the head to get my attention. And so it's a good way of doing it.
Spirit never knocks me on the head. No, that's quite a bit. So if you read for other people, would you allow them to touch your trinkets?
That's a good question. I probably would, because I have a very specific practice where I constantly cleanse my cards and my tools that I use. Actually, throughout this jar, there's like little chunks of crystal clear quartz, and that keeps all of these like fresh and cleansed. But I also do my own form of cleansing of like, I guess you could call it prayer over them as well. So I don't think I would mind that. There are certain tarot decks I certainly probably wouldn't want people to like touch. But the charms, I think I could, yeah, as long as I, again, was cleansing them in between readings, because it's very important for me to not bring energy of anyone's stuff into
I just think it would be so meaningful if someone was sitting across from you getting a reading and they were allowed to like touch something.
Yes.
Because shuffling the cards, sometimes they're like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
But they could like, pick a handful of charms and you cast the charms and we'll see where it falls on the reading. I think that'd be so cool. I think people would do that.
Yeah. That's so cool. Hopefully, yeah. Like reading for others like terrifies me right now because I don't have that confidence yet. Although I'm confident in my ability to do so. I just I want to become more comfortable with all of this that I'm creating and doing, and then eventually I would like to offer the service of reading for others, whether it be online or in person. But I'm just going to take some baby steps.
Well, you can come back and we'll do live readings.
Hey.
Be fun.
Right. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, we can do that.
And says, do you ever just tip them all out and look at everything? Look at all the cuteness?
Yeah, actually, I do. Yeah, not very often because I don't really have time, but I do from time to time.
Again, right?
If I'm using them, yeah, I do it, and they make me happy. And they sit. So where I have my computer set up, like they kind of sit in that area. So when I just like look at the jar, like it just makes me happy. I know it might sound dorky, but it just lights me up. It's sitting next to my whole like tarot oracle collection, which is pretty big.
This would make me happy if it weren't a headless frog.
Yeah, I just love that. Seriously.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
With a frog theme. What?
Thank you for sharing that your son's little collection there. I love that. And it just goes to show you that every collection is so unique. And, of course, everyone's tarot and oracle collection are unique, but it's like, oh yeah, I have that deck or I have that. But like with trinkets, I guarantee you, like people do not have the same actual collection of trinkets because it's been pulled from various parts of your life, right? So and it's so personal.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. It kind of feels like talking about tarot stuff is going off topic a little bit, but I do want to know though, because I do not collect, but are you a deck collector? Are you in search of the next great deck?
I never thought I would be, but I am. I'm just so drawn to the artwork in so many of these decks that I'm just like, oh my gosh, like if you're watching a flip through or walk through and you sort of like have this like connection to like a card or two, you're like, oh, I have to have that deck. And I will admit that I've gotten a lot better about it lately because for a while there, it was out of control. It was like, oh my gosh, like why do you need so many decks? But they all have their own voice, and we can make all the excuses we want of why we have as many decks as we have. But recently over on Abundant Life Tarot, Kim was mentioning being selective in your deck purchases and how your tastes change over the years. So that really made me stop and think like, oh yeah. So, and even prior to her mentioning this, I have been a lot more mindful of where I spend my money and the decks that I bring into my home. Although all the ones that I do have, I adore. And I've never actually given any away or sold any or traded any yet, because I'm like, well, they're in my life for a reason. But I also recognize that if it's not being used or I'm not connecting with it, like, there is a time to play, but I just haven't gotten there yet.
Maria, I think it was Maria. Well, no, was it you, Maria, who was in her video said, one way I care for my tarot decks is that I use them. And so if it does not make me happy to have decks that I don't use. And they all make me gaga for 5 minutes, but every once in a while I'll see a deck and go, I have to have that. Like I saw Panic Tarot and I was like, that's happening.
Yes.
And I usually don't have that big of a reaction, but once in a while you just gotta.
Absolutely.
You ever decide to retire a trinket? That's a good question.
Ooh, that is a good question. And the answer is yes. Actually, just recently, I think I took one out. It's just a feeling that I get if I see it and I'm like, oh, like, why is this even in the big jar? It doesn't even belong in here. I don't know how to explain like why I would do that. But yes, if I come in contact with one and it just doesn't feel fresh and like it's going to be adding to my readings, I will. And that's where the other jars come in place, where I have duplicates and then just ones that I'm like, yeah, this doesn't need to be part of my main one anymore. Because as you can see, there's plenty to purge if I needed to. So
do you go through that jar every once in a while and see if anything's promoted?
In the duplicate and other jars, I really have been saving those just to share with others. So I love snail mail and sending mail to people. So I will slip a trinket or two into someone's letters. If it's someone's birthday or whatnot, I'm always known for sprinkling trinkets and in various places. So I sort of keep them to share more so than I would ever probably use them in my own practice. So the main jar is where I just keep the ones that I use for readings. Yeah.
Okay. Jen lost her trinkets. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Hi, Jen. She said, I started collecting little pieces 6 months ago and have no clue where I put them.
Oh.
They will pop up.
They will turn up, especially after this live. Yes. We're going to send you the trinket love.
Oh, Maria, that wasn't you? Okay, well, I really liked it. So whoever it was, I'm trying to remember who it was that said that, but Maria, you're getting more selective with your purchases. Yeah, I mean, I just found I can only use so many decks, and I have like my go-tos that I use over and over, and then some that are on the periphery that once in a while I feel called to them for something specific. And some just, were gifts and I would never part with them.
Yes, there's that too.
Hi, my voice. Baking cookies for your neighbor. Oh,
that's so nice, my voice. Thanks for coming.
Yes, go search out some trinkets and hopefully we'll do a VR. Well, we have been talking for almost an hour. Do you guys have questions in the chat about tarot or trinkets or YouTube?
Wow, it's been an hour. That's amazing. Oh, thanks for coming, Jen.
Julie, you have like a rather large collection, don't you, of cards? Hi, Candy. No, we're still chatting.
Hi, Candy. Oh, I'm going to fangirl for a minute. I love Candy.
Yes. I just finally did a VR reading the tarot.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Okay, I'm going to pull a trinket for Candy. I just feel like I want to.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll do the same.
And it's a bracelet. This is kind of candy-ish. I think my son made it or something in school. It has,
I got a flamingo.
that's funny. This has a teddy bear, a turtle, a seal, it looks like. And this looks like some sort of gourd or something, a pepper.
That is so cool.
Spicy, it's spicy. That's a good one for candy. 40-something decks. Okay, that's good. That's good.
If anybody else wants a trinket pulled for them, just let us know in the chat.
Yes, who wants a trinket pulled for them?
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
Getting back to nature, yes.
Okay, so both Julie, Maria. Okay, so we'll do Julie, Peekaboo Rose.
Okay, Julie.
Julie. I got like a little fairy door.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it open? Let's see. Nope. Some of them do. This one doesn't.
Okay, I got this little, I don't know, it folds into a little ball. So it kind of folds up, and then there's a certain way you can pop it and it pops open.
Oh, like
what you would call that, but that's your trinket, Julie. I'll let you ponder that meaning. My trinkets are not as refined.
Oh,
So.
the sound of the trinket jars, I swear, like I will go on trinket or I guess they call them charms in some channels, and I'll just like listen for it, and they'll say, oh, well, you know, it can get a little noisy. You might want to turn down your volume. I'm like, I'm here for this noise. Like I'll skip through the video. So, okay. So
I don't really bridge or riffle shuffle my cards because I don't like how noisy it is, but the trinket jars, I like the noise.
So Maria wants one.
Okay, Maria. Ooh.
Oh. I got the key of truth. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, I like that.
It says truth on it. Yeah. Yeah.
I love old keys. They're so fascinating to me just to think about, what did this open? Well, Maria, I picked out this little glass. It's a blue bead, and it kind of immediately reminded me of you because your icon is this exact color.
Aww.
It's really pretty. The camera does not do it justice.
Yeah, and in my recent video that I did as well, it was so awesome to go down in the comment section and see, because I also have I'll show you. I also have a jar of Scrabble tiles and actually some numbers as well.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'm writing that down. Scrabble tiles, you guys. Dice.
And so this little like this bowl here came from like Walmart, so you can just find something like that in the kitchen section of Walmart. And then I just have like a bunch of like Scrabble tiles, and like for example, like these came from like the dollar store had some kind of, you know, some dollar store stuff. If you're not using any board games anymore, board game pieces like Monopoly pieces are good trinkets and charms. I mean, I felt really bad. So I went through all the board games that we weren't using anymore, and I took all the pieces out, but I still donated the games. And I thought, oh, I hope somebody doesn't like the, you know, I hope they actually go through and be like, well, there's no pieces to this game. So, but I've also seen people that do crafts that would use like the board for something. So it made me feel better to know, like, okay, some kid's not going to cry and so there's no pieces to this game. Like, what monster?
No, you can redecorate the board and use it for pretty much anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Candy said the teddy bear was be soft with yourself, just keep swimming, and get more balance standing on one leg.
Oh, Candy, that's so funny.
Good. I like that. Maria said it goes with her full moon ritual from last night. See, synchronicities.
Aw.
I know, Julie, I'm going to be scavenging my house too.
Yeah.
And I can see like having to, I got to make a trip to the Dollar Tree and the craft store.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, like be creative in like like the areas that you find. I guarantee you, like after seeing this video, a lot of people will look at things differently. Like, hey, that could be like totally part of my charm trinket collection.
Absolutely. All the little buttons and things that I've saved because I just can't part with them.
Yes.
You can have a place now. I like that.
They have a purpose.
The kids' board games are now doomed. Well, you know.
Sorry, kids.
Clear purpose, you know. Okay. I'm going to pull one last trinket, Angela. I am so happy that you were able to come on with me. Finally, I feel like we've been counting down.
Yes, we have. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for allowing me here to just talk about things that make me happy. And it just feels good to be accepted in the community just for who I am, of where I am on my journey. I hesitated at first thinking I don't know enough, which is so silly. Like, what does that even mean? Like, of course, like you're who you are. This is where you are on your journey. But it can be intimidating sometimes, right? I know like Julie on Peekaboo Rose, she had asked like, you know, give me all your Q&As, like she's going to answer them. And that was one of my questions to her is like, were you intimidated when you first started your channel? Because there's so many like people out here that are really versed in tarot and like, I'm afraid to say the wrong thing or like, oh, she doesn't even know what she's talking about. Or, oh, does she have to refer to the little white book? Well, then she's really not a tarot reader. It's like, oh, but I don't really have to refer to the little white book. That's not my point. But you know what I'm trying to say is like, there's people that are like, have been doing this for 35 years or whatever. And although I've been dabbling in it, I wouldn't consider myself to know tarot inside and out. But when I add it to all these different things like I've just shared here, it just really is who I am. It fits my personality and my practice. And I thought it would be fun to share with everyone else.
Well, I'm glad you did. And yeah, I still have, YouTube is like, it brings stuff up and it kind of makes you deal with certain things. And I still feel like, sometimes I feel like, I got this tarot thing down. And sometimes I feel like a beginner. And I always, before I enter, before I put a video public, go, oh, is this good enough? Do I sound stupid? I don't have anything new to say, but, it's kind of like, screw it,
Yeah.
And, this community is really, really supportive and, that's why I keep being here, because people have not been judgy or anything like that. So
yeah, exactly. And like before we pushed live, you and I were just discussing about like the imposter syndrome and how we all sort of go through that. And I was just watching Kellyanne Maddox's channel and she had an amazing video on there. And I really encourage you all to watch it, is like talking about just that. Like, well, am I good enough to start a channel? Do I know enough? Do I have a unique enough voice to share? And it's like, silliness, because of course you should. If it's something you really want to do, then do it. But also what she was saying and what I encourage too is like, just know your intentions behind why you want to do it. I find that there's people, and not just tarot, I'm just like YouTube in general, is like, oh, I want to start a channel and I want to get all these followers and make all this money. It's like, well, if that's your intention behind it, that's going to be like really not fun, because then you're just chasing that and you're not really doing what you. So I enjoy making videos. I enjoy connecting with people, and that's why I do it. So I always find it's important, just like anything in life, is just to remember your why of why you started, and then know your intention behind it. And then I find that people just naturally are attracted and flow to you when you just stand in that authentic place of yourself. So that's why I follow all of you people, everybody here in the chat, because I just enjoy hearing your unique perspective and what you have to share. So there's room for all of us.
There really is. And yeah, I turned my subscriber count off because when I just got tired of fretting about it and
Yes.
giving any kind of self-worth to it. And I just was like, you know what? I just need to do what I can do. And sometimes I feel like I can't keep up. I can't watch enough videos, but I just can only do what I can do. And I'm not really here to get a certain number of subscribers. I'm just here to really go on a journey with my cards and try to get to know them better and learn from other people. And so that's got to be my focus. And I can't worry about numbers because it gets unfun when I get caught up in that. So
exactly. I completely agree. And I turned my subscriber count off right away, and my likes and dislikes and all that. The number game to me is not fun. I don't even want to, of course, like when I hit certain milestones, I'm going to be celebrating it and sharing it with my community and things like that. I mean, because like it's important to me to like express my gratitude for people like being here and being interested in what I have to say, not so much as like, oh, look at me, I've got this many subscribers, like who the hell cares. It's more about your message that you're delivering and the connections that you're making along the way. So I understand what you mean about getting hung up on the numbers, because it's I think it's damaging on so many levels. So I just turned it off because I'm not interested in it.
yeah,
that's not why I'm here. So
it's nice to feel like, oh, somebody watched, but
well, yeah, for sure.
that feels good. But I just can't put too much more energy into it than that. So
exactly,
it's not good. It's not good for me. It's not good for me.
No, it's not really good for anyone. No, but I mean, you're right. We all want to be loved and accepted, and at least know that our voice was heard and that what we're saying is somewhat useful to someone. I mean, it does feel good, but it's not really, shouldn't be the be all end all of like why you're doing what you're doing. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Angela. Thank you guys who showed up. And if you're watching this play back, hi, and thank you also. I had so much fun. You are my very first kind of guest on my own. Especially my first guest, but you're my very first guest on my own. And I'll talk to you after I push this button. But thanks, you guys. I had a lot of fun. I loved hearing about your trinkets. And Angela, that sounded weird. I loved hearing about your trinkets.
No, that's cool. I had so much fun.
I know he's like, that sounds weird, but this context, in the tarot context, lots of things usually weird aren't weird, but okay. We're all a little weird here.
That's fine.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye everyone. Thanks so much.